This is WBCQ, bringing World's Last Chance Radio to you from Monticello, Maine, USA. Violent crime, political unrest, financial instability. Everything points to an impending crisis, a crisis like no other. Tune in to World's Last Chance Radio to learn how you can spiritually prepare for what lies ahead. WLC Radio, preparing a people for the Saviour's imminent return.
The reason that flat Earth is so interesting and so many people are into it is because it's reality. And you guys are going to have your minds change. I don't want you to become flat earthers during the show. I want you to realize that there are things that you think you know that you don't know.
Okay. I'm ready for it. That's what the show's all about.
I'm very conspiracy minded. So I already there's a lot of things that you think you know that you don't know. And you and I actually align on a lot of beliefs, but when it comes to this one, we're just on opposite ends of the spectrum. I mean, if you look at my shirt right here, it's jet fuel oh yeah, you can't see me. That's right. Anyways, I'm very very conspiracy minded. So like, I'm there with you, but I just can't get behind this one, man.
Well, you know what? I was there. I did a show called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, just kind of like what you guys do for 3 years. And people started sending me flat Earth stuff, and I couldn't get behind it. For 6 months, I ignored it. I wouldn't watch it. I looked at a couple things. I said, it's nonsense. And then I really took the time. Here's the issue, that we're all trusting people. We want to trust the world. We live in a world where we trust before we don't trust. And we're told lots of things our entire lives that we just go, oh, okay, and we're done. Like, and we just believe them. You have to trust and verify, okay?
For
and
sure.
And what you're going to find out, and then as we talk today, we're going to have disagreements. We're going to have agreements. Like at the beginning, we all hate Neil deGrasse Tyson. Fantastic.
Not me.
Start off on the
like
right
him.
foot.
I like him.
Things are going to fall into three baskets. Works on a flat Earth only, works on a ball Earth only, and works on both. Okay, it could work on either. So we're just going to remember which basket things fall in, and we're going to kind of keep a mental score as we go along.
Okay, I don't know if it'll be as easy. Welcome to
me, David, please.
By the way, I am not religious in any way, but when you discover the flat Earth, it changes who you are. It makes life better. I haven't been bored for a split second in 4 years. There's not 1 second of boredom. Life is so much more amazing. And you'll discover that as we go on. Actual science to prove that we're not on a spinning globe. Anything above the Earth plane is speculation. Planets, you don't know if there's a light close to us, if they're a solid rock far away. We don't know anything other than they are lights in the sky.
We do know that anything above is not speculation because we have hundreds of astronauts and people that have been in outer space that we can rely on their testimony and witness and film. That would be
belief. That is a religious belief.
How is that a religious belief?
Because have you been into space?
So hang on now. So we're going under the premise that if you haven't seen it or done it, it doesn't count, right?
Not exactly. No, not true. But if you really get into NASA, like on my channel, I have a NASA hoax playlist.
I know all about NASA.
You can see on the International Space Station that they're hanging from wires, that they're using multiple layers of CGI. There's so many mistakes on the International Space Station. It's unbelievable. I mean, you can't believe how they can screw up that much.
Theoretically, though, if I had a telescope, assuming there is a space station, I should be able to see it, though, through my telescope, or would that be some sort of optical illusion? Or you can't. You can't.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Would you say that the building of the space station in space is probably one of the greatest technological accomplishments of mankind?
Pretty close, next to CERN. Yeah,
it's the most expensive. I know that.
So we're in the vacuum of space. Right. We're falling around the Earth at 17,500 miles per hour. That's why the space station
Yeah.
doesn't fall to Earth. It's
Correct.
still
I
in
wouldn't call it
gravity,
falling,
but
but yeah.
it's going so
It's in
fast
free
that
fall,
it's
yeah.
falling around the curve.
Correct. Yes.
It's falling around the curve, which
That's
is it's just a theory. It's a theory. So
True.
So when they bring up all the modules up there, are the astronauts that are floating around putting them together? And don't you think that mission control would have like 100 cameras on it, telling them, all right, move it over here and connect this to that? Of course, they
Who says they don't though? Who said they
there's
don't?
zero videos or pictures of the space station being built. Zero.
But why?
There's zero footage. There's zero because it's fake. There is no space station.
I'm gonna have to verify that.
Zero.
Yeah, I don't know.
All of the telemetry and photographs from the moon, all the telemetry data from the moon, lost.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They lost it. And the official story was they were having a budget crunch, so they taped over it.
That's
Isn't
what
that
they said in
silly?
the beginning. Yes, that's what they said in the beginning. Yeah.
That was the question I always have, David, because as far everybody that listens to this show knows that I'm a big global warming, let's say, skeptic, doubter,
Crazy man.
maybe,
Sure.
right? But
Same page.
But the thing about that is, I know there are people making a lot of money off it. So what would be the impetus for people to fake all this? That's because I'm looking for who gains, qui bono. You know what I mean? That's
the big question,
right?
If what if So we basically live on a farm. To quote Max Eigen, we are being farmed on this world, and we are slaves for the elite. And they educate us in their Rockefeller-funded education system, where they give us just enough information to be good little worker slaves for the corporations. They teach us old math. They don't teach us sacred geometry. They don't teach us vortex mathematics. They don't teach us what one day might empower us to question their authority. If you don't know who you are right now, you guys think that you are an insignificant speck of dust, that a lightning strike made an amoeba that turned into a fish, that climbed out of the water, that became a monkey.
Yeah, that's
the
the truth.
Farted, and here you are. That's the Big Bang Theory. Okay. And you're on a spinning speck of dust in an infinite universe with trillions and trillions and trillions of other spinning specks. It removes the power, when the truth is we are here in the center of creation, and all of the heavens above are rotating around us. The universe, that's a bad word, is rotating around, and we are the center of creation.
So you're saying that it's more or less the powers that be to trivialize us and to make us feel insignificant.
So there's really no point in it then.
Right.
There's a huge point. If we are in fear, like of an asteroid hit, of nuclear war, whole nother topic. When you're in fear, you give your power away. So they're keeping us in fear with all of the crap that they put out there.
Well, I think we agree on that.
But
they're
asteroids
making
do
false arguments for us to continually fight red versus blue, black versus white.
Right.
All of the stuff. They're keeping us afraid, giving away our power, thinking we are an insignificant speck with no consequences for our actions.
Right, but what is the end game in making us believe the Earth is flat?
I think what you say is power. They keep a power over us.
What would
they keep the power over us because if everybody woke up tomorrow morning to the flat Earth, if everyone woke up tomorrow morning, the elite would lose all their power. But there could be more land within our southern oceans. There could be other worlds beyond the shoreline of Antarctica.
There are in the.
Are you claiming, though, that the universe, for lack of a better word, as you say, is much, much smaller than there aren't trillions of galaxies and stars, etc.?
So the best way I can describe the flat Earth is the Earth, the flat Earth plane, is the basement of the universe. It is a stationary flat plane. Everything above the Earth rotates around a center point that we call the North Pole. Okay? And that's a magnetic North Pole. Okay, all of the stars are rotating around it. So you have Polaris right above the North Pole. You with me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so the Earth is spinning how fast?
12.5?
1,000 miles an hour, right?
Yeah, roughly 1,000 miles.
At its equator.
1,000 miles per hour. How fast is it orbiting around the sun in a second motion?
I'll
tell you.
Okay.
6 that you can't even comprehend.
Right.
Okay. Not only are we spinning, going around at 66,000 miles per hour, we're chasing the sun. The sun is going at 600,000 miles per hour. Okay, so we're corkscrewing through space at ridiculous speeds. By the end of this conversation, we will probably have traveled over 1 billion miles. However, all of the star constellations that have been around since time in memoriam are exactly the same every year. Is that
are they not traveling
we're
with
flying
us
through space, or that these fixed stars are orbiting around us? And the wandering stars, also known as planets, are making their spiral graph loops inside of that system.
You just said it yourself. So our sun's a star, and our sun's moving with us, right? So what would be ignorant of us to think that the rest of the stars out in the galaxy aren't moving as well?
So hang on, you're a little program there. When you say a star, you're referring to a gigantic burning ball of hydrogen.
Exactly.
I'm saying that is not what the
helium
sun is.
and among other things.
Okay.
And again, that's a religion. You have no proof of that whatsoever. So I'm going to try to describe the sunset, but so when you watch an airplane fly into the distance, it goes from overhead where you have to look up at it like this. And in no time, you're looking straight across the plane. You got to look at me and focus. So airplane above you, and you watch it go, and it goes, and now you're looking straight forward. Where if you drew a line from your eye to the airplane, it's parallel with the flat Earth, and that's simply due to perspective. If I was in Vegas in a long hallway, and you got the lights, and the lights come down, and they merge with the floor. And the hallway is like
seems long enough hallway.
Mile.
Yeah.
Right. And that's due to perspective.
Right,
but if I zoom in with my camera, I can see it. It'll open up and they'll get bigger and bigger, and I could just keep zooming down the hallway. And if that hallway was 100 times longer, I'd still be able to see with a super zoom camera all the way down to the end. But then you have yourself, a terrestrial observer. You have a celestial in the sky object. So as that thing goes away, it drops due to perspective. However, we have a atmospheric deck in between us, okay? A cloud deck, or just the density of the atmosphere, which is not transparent over a long distance. And as that cloud deck squeezes into the horizon, it becomes opaque. So anything that goes behind that deck sets as it moves away. And it looks like it's going down, but it's going up. Now, to your point about the sun remaining the same size, it doesn't. Sometimes it gets bigger. Sometimes it gets smaller when you're watching a sunset. Most sunsets are viewed where there's tons of moisture in the air. The lower you are, the more moisture there is. And that, as the sun's going away and shrinking, it's also getting magnified. There's hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of videos now out there showing how the sun looks like it's going behind the curve, but it's not. It's going behind the vantage point. If you look forward at a 45-degree angle, you're going to see about 6 feet in front of you, and your vision's going to stop when it hits the floor, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Right?
I can verify that.
You swap that angle, and you look up at 45 degrees. Your vision's going to keep going. So we can see your vision's going to stop when it hits the ground, which is going to be almost at your eye level. However, if you're up a little higher, you're going to see farther. So things disappear just because they're going behind the point of convergence. It's optics. It's the way our eyes see. It's the way the atmosphere is set up. And there's many reasons for sunset.
Okay, let me ask, do you believe this, that the sunset is, the atmosphere or the sky is red because of the change in the variation in the light waves coming in instead of overhead?
It's the refraction.
Yeah, right, Rayleigh scattering, et cetera. That's what would cause that then?
It's shown that, first the idea that light travels for billions and billions of years and billions of miles is nonsense.
What?
The sun is.
Hang on, I got to stop you right there. How can you say that light can't travel for billions of years and it's nonsense?
Because it's a belief system. There's zero proof of it, and I don't think billions of miles or billions of years exist.
We actually do have proof of light traveling, at least from the sun to us, which is 8 light seconds away. It takes 8 seconds.
8 minutes.
It takes 8 minutes for it to get here.
Again, that is a religious belief, okay? That the sun is... by the way, thank you for bringing that up, because that's my favorite one to talk about. And by the way, everything you've asked so far is in the video called A Stranger's Guide to Flat Earth, 21 Questions, on our Facebook page, the Flat Earth Podcast. But the sun, so let's just talk about the sun. You say the sun is 8 light minutes away.
Correct.
So now, so let's go with this. You know those big yoga gym balls? They're about this big, right?
Yeah.
Those big blue balls. That's the sun.
My God,
okay, in the heliocentric model. And the Earth is a pebble right next to it. Agreed?
Sure.
Yeah, the size is about right.
So we're on the pebble, and we're going to put this ball literally a quarter of a half an inch above the pebble. Okay, we're just going to say it's right there. So you're on the pebble, and you look up. What are you going to see?
Nothing but sun.
The sun, nothing but sun. Very good. So now we're going to move that sun 93 million miles away, and it went from filling the entire sky to the size of a dime held at arm's length. Agreed?
No, it's perspective. I mean,
wait, hold on. It shrank due to perspective from the entire sky to the size of a dime at arm's length. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're all in agreement on this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So what if I doubled that distance? How much smaller would it get? Would you be able to see it? I'm going to make it easier. If I 8 times the distance, could you see it?
Sure, you can see the sun from like Pluto or anything.
So
It would be a
hold
dot.
on. That's
It would
another religious belief.
Well,
I
yeah,
want
I've
you
not
to
been
think-
out on a
stop.
probe,
You have to wipe your belief system out of here. We're
it's real
talking
difficult to do there,
about-
Dave.
yeah, I mean, this is actually just recognized science, and this is you know what I mean. So
No, I mean he's right. I've not gone out on a probe. To me, it is almost religious.
Yeah, we are
Yeah,
taking
no,
I'm
it is
suspending as much
completely
disbelief as I
100%
can.
religious.
at face value. We are taking this. Yes.
Everett,
Yep.
I'm not. We're talking about. You can do this experiment yourself. You can take a ball and move it. I have a video on my channel that I did this exact experiment, but went from the entire sky to the size of a dime held at arm's length. That's a huge reduction. If we went 8 times farther, it's going to get smaller. It doesn't stop getting smaller. It would disappear. Would you agree?
Well, be
Possibly. Let's try it with my phone in the camera.
okay.
So right up front,
Okay, go ahead.
You're blocked
so
out.
There it is. It's filling the whole sky.
I'm at about 2 inches from my camera here. I'm going to move it out to say
now
10
go.
inches.
And now its angular size is shrinking. It's now a quarter of the size. Go ahead.
I'm going to take it as far as I can away. It's going to be roughly,
ahead.
say, 60
Right,
inches.
It'll
I'm
be
measuring
no
it to the size of the screen. So
to 93
it was
million
filling my
miles.
whole screen, and now I can fit 150 of those on my screen. And how far away are you?
Roughly 5 foot, we'll say.
All right, so if you went 10 feet away, I could probably fit 1,000 of them on my screen.
Roughly, I would say probably even more than that.
Okay, so you agree that things keep getting smaller. 8 times that distance. Anybody with an adult mind will agree it's going to disappear. Its angular size is going to get too small for our eye to resolve, even if light could travel that distance. Guess what? That's a light hour.
yeah, that's right.
8 times the distance is a light hour.
Correct.
We're told that we can see other stars that are similar to our sun that are hundreds of light years away.
we can't without the help of telescopes.
No, we can
and
see stars
satellites.
every night when you look outside.
Yeah, but hundreds of millions of light years away.
Billions
No,
with the
I never
telescope.
said
With
that.
your
I
own
never
eyes.
said that. I said light years away. So let's just call it 1 light year.
Okay.
You know how many more times? I mean, I'm talking a light hour. You cannot. The sun went from everything to the size of a dime with your arm stretched out. 8 times farther, you're not going to be able to see it.
So that's your point. That
And
they're
that's a
so
one
far
light
away.
hour.
There'd be no way we could see even Proxima Centauri, which is 4.3.
See, I would argue that it's not-
You were talking about the North Star.
Told you.
How about gravity itself? Now, is that more? Would you consider that?
If
or-
you look at if you look at the high priest of scientism, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and other scientists, they say that gravity is an unproven theory, which is true, and they don't know how it works.
True.
And to make it almost work, they have to add like 90% dark matter, which
Right.
has never been seen or observed. It's a religion.
Sure.
And it's nonsense.
well, have you ever heard the
but-
theory of the electric
Nah.
universe, though? How about the electric universe?
So hang on, let me finish my answer. The gravity of the Earth can hold oceans, billion trillion pound oceans, and cruise ships to the bottom of a spinning ball, but a butterfly can fly away.
That's
A
inertia
helium
right
balloon.
there.
So let me ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
Just David, a personal
The
question
turtle.
for you. You yourself said 4 years ago you were not a believer. I'm just wondering what exactly changed your mind, and was it gradually? You said 100 hours, or was there some epiphany, some moments that wow, now it makes sense to me?
It's almost 5 years now. I lost track, but it's been nonstop research, and I don't believe anything. It took me a while, and then I was
But
like,
you
okay,
believe the Earth is flat,
hold
though.
on, let me answer the question.
Okay.
There's something wrong with the globe. The globe doesn't make sense. Okay, and it's been 4 years, so the globe doesn't make sense, and but I'm like, I don't want to say flat Earth, but we can see too far. Let's talk about it. Every ball, from a basketball to the globe Earth, has curvature.
Right.
Agreed?
Correct.
Okay. And that curvature has a formula that'll tell you how
8 inches a mile.
8 inches, not 8 inches a mile, because 8 inches a mile is a slope. It's 8 inches per mile squared, because as you go, it starts dropping faster and faster. So you have to square the mile. So if it's 8 inches, 8 inches, 8 inches, 8 inches, we live on a ramp. Okay, it's 8 inches per mile squared.
Yeah, it's a
8
derivative.
inches the first mile. 2 times 2 times 8 is 32 inches. So 3 miles is 6 feet of drop, and it drops off. And this is the agreed upon curvature calculator. And we can see things like Chicago across Lake Michigan. When the weather conditions are right, there it is in all its glory. We can see the Rogers Center across there. It should be well under the curve. We can see mountains in the distance.
Elevation.
Here's the problem, though. As I was talking about before, the atmosphere is not translucent that far. It becomes light can't get through it, and it just becomes sky at a certain distance. I was recently just down off of Puerto Rico, and there's an island called St. Croix, which is 50 miles away. And I have the Nikon P1000, the largest super zoom camera, consumer camera in the world, 125 times.
I've seen this video.
Yeah. No, well, you didn't see this video.
Or
and
one
I
similar.
Zoomed in, and now all I can see is a horizon. I just see a horizon where the sky meets the water, and I can't see anything else. But I also have a P900, which was the previous model. It's only 87 times zoom, or 83 times zoom. Still a powerful camera, but I converted it to the IR spectrum, the infrared spectrum, and it can buzz through all of that light that's blocking my vision, and bam, there was St. Croix in all of its glory. All of the tall mountains, all of the low mountains. I could see all the way down to the shoreline when only the tippy tops of some of those mountains should be available. I can see the entire thing, but when I take the camera away or I look through the more powerful non-IR camera, it's gone. So are those mountains floating in the air, because they're curving around the earth? No, I can see them because the earth is flat. The earth is 70% water. Water always lays flat, and that's it. It's flat. At 120,000 feet, we sent balloons up with non-fisheye cameras. It's flat, and the sun is close.
Okay, so what are the implications of this, vis-a-vis the Big Bang and the cosmic background radiation, et cetera? I mean, because this would make the universe much smaller and probably younger, right, than what is typically.
That's the age of the Earth is the big question.
Yeah, and 4.5 billion years is the accepted, whatever, 4.6.
Accepted religious belief. It's a religion.
Right, that's what I'm saying, yeah. But that's
according to our religion.
I'm gonna go on a limb here. There's no such thing as a billion years. Wow. It doesn't exist. It hasn't happened.
Okay. Could it happen in the future?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't been there. I'm here now. I think all of our history is a lie. There was much higher technology in the 1800s than there is now.
So
it was a different technology.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because in 1807 they started pioneering what was called a crow's nest on ships. So you know what a crow's nest is?
Yeah.
This was before everybody came out with the flat earth thing, when it was accepted that the earth was a ball. So they would go up into these crow's nests, and the reason is so that they could see further. They could see further.
Yeah. So I'm going to address that, but first I want to
over the curvature
question your religious belief on when did everybody think the earth was a ball?
I mean, everybody still does.
No,
well, I would say 2,000 years ago, roughly, in Greece is whenever they first started mathematically being able to discern
1,800 years before, for sure.
The Ptolemaic universe.
That's not for sure. Again, that's a religious belief, and we can get into that. So Aristophanes, you're talking about.
Aristotle.
And then so remember that point. And then what was the other thing you said just a minute ago? The first thing.
The crow's nest.
Oh yeah, the crow's nest. So we're told that because the Earth is a ball, the sun or something will go behind it, but when you get up higher, you can see it. Yeah. Okay. So here's what they don't teach you in school. The angular resolution limits of your eyes. Everett, you got to focus.
I got you on another monitor over here. You're bigger. I'm looking at you.
Okay. So when I hold my phone up here, the angular size of it is it's close to 180 degrees. When I bring it here, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and now it's maybe 15 degrees.
Sure,
right? Your vision. And as I go away, it's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And eventually, it's going to get so small when it gets to around 0.2 degrees, your eye can't see it. Your eye doesn't have the right cells to resolve any anything that this is true, a fact, science proven. Your eye can't resolve anything smaller than I think it's 0.2 or even, I think it's 0.2 degrees, whatever.
There's a certain resolution you can't go below.
So the angular resolution limit of your eye. So that's when things get smaller. However, so we move a ship and it becomes so small you can't see it. But then you go up higher and guess what you're doing? So I'm looking at the ship inside of this limit. But when I go up higher, I've just increased the angular size of the ship. There it is. So we can watch ships disappear, and they say it's over the horizon, but then I can take my super zoom camera, zoom in, there's the entire ship again in all its glory. Hundreds and hundreds of videos on our Facebook page about that, showing it, demonstrating it, science, where it looks like it disappears behind the curve, but then it's there. I also have a...
And now, what about and about the other celestial objects, say the moon and what we would call planets, Venus, etc.?
The planets used to be called wandering stars by all of the other advanced civilizations that were here before us, and they are lights in the sky. The only photos, there are no photos. The only images, pictures that were given of planets come from two sources. One of them more credible than the other, and that's NASA and Disney, and Disney's the more credible one.
But I've taken photos personally with my own telescope of Saturn.
Now go back and look at it, and what do you see?
I saw a blue blur with a blue line in front of it because I had a shitty telescope and a shittier camera.
Yeah. So we have super. Here's the problem. Consumer optics have outgrown their lies. When you look at Saturn, there's rings around it for sure. I see those rings, and you know what? It looks spherical to me. But it's a light. It's a light source. It's not reflecting light. It's a light source. Now, Jupiter, it's got little lights that appear to be going around it. They may be going around it. They may be going back and forth in front of it, but they're lights. That's it. They're lights. We have no idea. The sun used to be 3 million miles away. Then it was 9 million miles away. Then it was 27 million miles away. And now it's 93 million miles away. And the way they figured out how far the sun is they assumed that the planet Venus was about the same size as the Earth, and they extrapolated the distance of the sun by that assumption. First, the assumption of the size of the Earth, and the assumption of the distance and size of Venus, and then they extrapolated out of that the distance of the sun. All nonsense. If you have your globe Earth, it comes down, and on the bottom is the continent of Antarctica.
Yes.
Okay. Nobody's circling around Antarctica or around its shoreline because it should take a month, but it takes 3 years. And Captain Cook is the last person that did it. I think the last person that did it. And he went over 60,000 miles, and it took 3 years.
I would say Captain Cook's full of shit.
You got the globe, and down on the bottom of the globe is the tip of South America. Pretty close to it's pretty far down
close
there.
to the bottom, but yeah.
Chile.
Slightly off center, but
side, you have Australia. It's around the same latitude, and it's pretty close down there. Okay, right here's the equator out here, but they're down here.
Sure.
So if you wanted to fly from Santiago to Australia, you can go across Antarctica.
That was a question I had too.
Yeah, no, I got the answer.
Or you can just stay on the same latitude and just go around that lower short circle on the ball. But that's not the plane routes that they go at all. Plane routes go from Santiago all the way up to the north, into the northern hemisphere, across America, over to Dubai.
Do you know
and then
why?
Back all the way down.
I can answer this right now. Why?
Let me answer it for you. It's safer. They need to get fuel. They need to pick up other passengers.
There it is. That's a business. Airlines are a business. What sense would it make for Uber to pick up one passenger whenever they could pick up three?
What about the fact that there is a flight that doesn't go, I think it goes once a week or once a day, that is direct and it's full? Okay, you got a full flight of people that want to go from Santiago to Australia. Why do you need to go all the way up there? If it's a business, they'll take the short route.
I got an answer for that too.
Latitude, but they don't. And the reason is that big curved line on a flat Earth map is a straight line. So look, this is the flight route that they actually take, but this is the flight route on a flat Earth. Okay, that's the same route. It's a straight line. All of these flight routes these crazy flight routes they take, you map them on a flat Earth, they're straight lines. You know why? Because it's a business. It's a business.
Exactly.
Yeah, what about so they're taking the shortest distance, a straight line. Here's another thing for you. Let's talk about the magnetics.
Yeah.
So you got, and again, this is something you can test scientifically.
And it's not true north, correct? It's a little off. It's not true north.
Our magnetic north fluctuates.
They're trying to confuse you with this true north.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Do you believe that? Yeah. You don't believe that either.
A compass where I am always points to the same place for all of my life. Okay. So a compass always points to the north, which is right under Polaris.
Unless you're in the southern hemisphere. By round Earth standards.
There's no compass that points to a south pole. They only point to the North Pole. And the truth is, when you get to Antarctica, compasses stop working. Okay?
You've been there to test that?
No, but there's video. There's the guy that supposedly just crossed Antarctica, the Colin O'Brady. Again, there's videos on our YouTube page, on our Facebook page that completely destroy his trek across Antarctica. So you have a compass. So here, my microphone is the North Pole, right? Mm-hmm. But if this was a magnet and I held a compass right here, the needle's going to point to the north, right?
Right.
So when I go west is not a straight line because my compass is going to turn. Right. So west is a circle around the center point.
Right.
This is true on a flat Earth and a ball Earth, okay? East is the same thing. I'm pointing to the north. I'm going to the east. East is a circle around the center point.
Right, they're parallel lines on a globe.
They're not they're parallel circles on a globe.
On a globe, right.
So if you were 1 mile from the North Pole and you break out your compass, it's going to point to the North Pole, and you want to go west, the west is going to be a tight circle, and 3.14 miles later, you're going to have circumnavigated the North Pole.
Correct.
Okay, you went around it and came back. 2 miles, you're going to go around. 3 miles, you're going to go around. All the way down to the equator, you're going to go around. But anything north of the equator on a ball, you'd have to correct to the left, correct to the center a little bit, because any straight line. So here I'm pointing east, okay, and this finger's pointing north. If I go straight line, I'm now going south. I'm going south. I'm not going east anymore. I gotta turn. East and west are circles. Any direction away from north is south. That is south. That is south. That is south.
From true north.
That is south. From the North Pole, from the magnetic North Pole. On my channel, just search DITRH Circumnavigation for Dummies. Okay? Here's the problem. Billions of people have circumnavigated the Earth. They've flown to Japan.
That's true.
Some of them go over the middle or almost over the middle. You can take a shortcut and go over the middle, okay? Go over Alaska. Most flights go over Alaska when they're going to the Far East. So millions of people have done it. I've done it. Lots of people have done it. Nobody has circumnavigated south and come back. You know why? Because south is away from the center. If you look at my map in the back, it just goes away, and there's no way to come back. Nobody's ever circumnavigated the Earth south.
Okay,
and that's because the Earth is flat.
Okay, and there's the rub, I guess, the big question I'm sure you've heard a million times. What's on the edge?
We don't know. We're not allowed to go there. Okay. How about this?
But is there an edge? There is an edge.
So hold on.
I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, so we've been at war for how long? Forever. How many wars have gone on? There's wars. Countries, we don't get along according to the mainstream news.
Oh, absolutely.
All sorts of stuff is happening. But since 1957 or 1959, there's been a treaty with over 50 countries that say Antarctica. Nobody, no corporation, no person, nobody can independently explore Antarctica, and you can't even question it until the year 2040.
I think that treaty actually says you can't own Antarctica. No one can take claim to it.
No,
treaty, what's the name of that treaty?
It says that too, but you can't go there. However, hold on. I don't
believe that.
You can't go there. There's about 15 tour companies that will allow you to go there. It costs like $10,000 to $15,000 just to go for a couple days. They're all owned by the same parent company, so it's really one company. Suspicious. And when you go there, you get a little tour of the edge. You get a little. They bring you to a little pole, and they go, "Hey, this is the South Pole." It's not. It's just a pole stuck in the ground. You get to see some penguins, and they send you on your way. Nobody can explore Antarctica. What the heck is going on?
So the
there?
Treaty of Antarctica is freedom of scientific investigation in Antarctica that and cooperation toward that end. It's not that you can't go there. It's that it's not you can't own it, dude. You can't go there and stake claim to it and say this is America's land now. That's what they're saying. You can't own it.
I'm sure it says that, but you also can't go there. So again. to really find out why you can't go to Antarctica for the physical reasons and the political reasons, it'll take you 1,000 hours of research. However, a bunch of us, one channel called Taboo Conspiracy, took the time and put together I think it's 35 minutes or 40-minute video called "Sorry, Antarctica is Closed." It's on our Facebook page. Go to the video page, scroll way down, and you'll see "Sorry, Antarctica is Closed." If you watch that video, you'll understand the physical and political limitations on why exploring Antarctica is not happening.
Okay. And how about the seasons then? It's not because of the tilt of the Earth?
Yeah. So again, you got. By the way,
that's something we can experiment, and we know that we do have seasons.
For sure.
Okay.
So. Again, you look at me. So you got this is the sun now. My microphone is now not the North Pole. I've turned it into the sun.
Correct.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But this is the sun.
Okay.
And not going to happen.
Nice try, though.
Well, we'll imagine it being a ball. Okay.
So here is the Earth, and I'm tilting the Earth.
Correct.
Okay?
Yeah, 23.5.
23.4 degrees. Right. Yes.
Or 66.6 degrees.
Correct. You can say it that way. Right. Yeah, right.
So I'm tilting
6.6, I like it.
The bottom is tilting towards the sun, so it's getting more direct light over here.
That's the claim.
Australia's
yes.
summer, our winter.
Correct.
This is December.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I bring it over here. The tilt stays the same. We're tilted towards the top. In June, it's our summer. Antarctica. Australia's winter.
Right.
Okay?
That's correct.
Okay. So
and we're a little bit farther away too in June than we are in January. We're closer to the sun in January theoretically. Than July.
So during our winter,
not much.
We're closer to the sun.
Right.
So again, that's a religion. So
I know, but that's the claim. That's the claim.
So listen, you guys got this. You got to focus here.
Okay.
So that little tilt is causing our seasons. However, on December 21st, the winter solstice.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can go out at noon when the sun is at its highest point for the day in the sky, and I could look at the sun on a blue sky day, and I could barely feel the heat on my face. And it's up here at like 50 degrees, okay? 60 degrees high in the sky, and I could barely feel the heat on my face at a 60-degree angle, okay? So now in June 21st, I'll go to the beach in the dark, and when the sun pops its head visible on the horizon, I could feel the heat blasting on my face, and that is the most severe angle you can. Forget this 34-degree tilt. I'm talking an 89-degree tilt away, and I could feel the heat from that sun the second it shows up on the horizon. That shows you right there that it's not the angle of the sun, but the distance of the sun. Yes, when it's over on the horizon, it's a little cooler than it is at noon, but I can feel the sun blasting on my face, coming through the most severe angle. And in the winter, when it's coming at its most direct angle, I can't even feel the heat at all.
But during the summer, when it's at its most direct angle, the heat is,
you have to remember that tilt. We're rotating, so we're going from 0 to 90 and back to 0 every day.
Yeah.
Okay, that tilt is just a little. It's a thought experiment. Okay. It means nothing. The fact that I can't feel the sun when it's up here, but I can feel it when it's down here in June and in December, I can't feel it when it's up here. Take a heat lamp and face it at yourself and then tilt it and see if it makes much of a difference.
Well, all that tells me is the tilt. You're not ascribing it to the tilt. How does the flat Earth explain that?
Yeah, so I'll explain it. On the Flat Earth Sun and Moon and Zodiac Clock app, I'm going to put this on daily. So here's the sun cruising along, and you can see that that outer yellow line is the Tropic of Capricorn. So on December 21st, it's over that outer yellow line.
Okay.
So right now, it's getting very close to the red line, which is the equator.
Right. Okay? I see it. Yeah.
So it's moving closer to us on the inner northern hemiplane.
Okay, I got it. Okay. Well,
and then in the summer, it's over the Tropic of Cancer.
Correct. Yes.
And it's over that yellow line, and so it's far away from the outer southern hemiplane lands, and they're freezing their asses off while we're boiling.
Okay. Well,
lamp is here.
It's a nice animation.
Everything you guys believe about heliocentrism is a belief system. There is zero proof.
But
zero.
I want to get back to my bête noire here. So I'm saying, though, if we accept what you said about the seasons and the sun being overhead and it's never over the head of Antarctica, we don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about Antarctica melting, right? Because that's what the big global warming thing is.
So,
it's going to melt and raise
the
oceans, right? Isn't that that's true?
So the sun sets due to distance as it moves away across the Earth plane. So hang on. Mm-hmm. So when it's in the Tropic of Cancer, which is that tight circle around the center.
Yes.
If you're inside of that circle, like in Alaska or Norway, the sun never really gets that far away from you, so it never sets.
True.
And
6 months
you
of
can
light.
go there and verify it and film it. Okay.
And it melts the ice.
I've been there, experienced it.
And it would melt the ice.
It's amazing. It goes around you, and guess what? It goes around you just like you see it. You're stationary, and it's circling you. However, 6 months later, you should have the same thing in Antarctica at the same latitude, whatever the latitude.
Southern Hemisphere.
If you're at that latitude, you should see the same thing. There is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. There's 4 videos of the 24-hour sun, all of them completely debunked scientifically. They're fake, and we've actually just. Think of this. This is how they put it in our faces. Google NASA photograph of Pluto. Okay? It was taken a couple years ago.
Right. New Horizons.
And look at it. The Disney character Pluto is on the picture.
The official picture.
So how about all these probes? Do you discount? I mean, Voyager, all these Pioneer.
One of them. Nothing is left.
Okay.
Maybe they've gone up 70 miles. That's it.
Wow. Pressure.
So why would NASA or whoever? And believe me, I'm no fan of NASA's because all they care about is
money.
What the contribution of Muslims to space exploration. But
wow, I was out of left field.
Well, that's what they want. That's what they're trying. That's where a lot of their money goes. That and global warming, of course. But why would they say Neptune has the fastest winds in the solar system? It's interesting, and Venus is the hottest planet supposedly.
They want to fascinate you with space. They want you believing in space.
So it's misdirection, like anything else. It's just misdirection.
Why Disney and NASA are closely tied. NASA has more artists than Disney has.
I was looking at those pictures of Pluto, and I didn't see the dog. The official pictures of Pluto I haven't pulled up right here, and I'm not seeing a dog on.
That's not what he was talking about. You said on
he said there's Pluto, the Disney character.
A picture of Pluto. I mean, if you look it up, it comes up. Photo of
official pic of Pluto from a few years ago, exactly like you said.
And supposedly all these extrasolar planets too, David. That's more, just more fodder for.
The first picture that comes up is Pluto. Okay, you see Pluto?
Yep, there it is. That's it.
Yeah, there is Pluto and Pluto.
Wait. By the way, this is a photograph.
I can look up in the sky though, and just like make a bear
photograph
out of
a planet that is so far away, but we can see it it's lit up, it's in perfect focus and everything, but we can't get any photos of Earth. And if you say, well, there's photos of Earth, no, there's not. NASA admits that they're all CDI constructs made from strips of data.
That's very true.
Because, so we can get a picture of Pluto.
They're all color composites
of Earth. Okay.
I got kind of a slightly different question here. This is a thought one.
That is interesting.
If you were to go about proving flat Earth, what would your experiment look like?
Well, I just go with we can see too far. Game over. Earth is flat.
Well, I mean, let's do an actual experiment that we can throw money at. So, say somebody was rich. Say I had $1 billion. I believe the flat Earth theory, and I want to fund somebody that can do a whatever version of science you want to call it.
We can see too far. The Earth is flat.
No, what he's saying is if we can fund an experiment to prove this to everybody, what would that experiment
more than
be?
just looking out a window and saying that we see too far? What more of a definitive way that could easily, more than just you could call it.
There's a thing one guy came up with who's a engineer called force the line, and basically you take like these fencing sections that have machined parts that the ends are perfectly straight, and when you put them together, they're exactly 90 degrees touched.
Sure.
And you plant this fence, and you make sure each one is straight to the next. And over the course of several miles, the Earth should start dropping away. But that'll cost a lot of money.
Yeah, that'd be a good way to do that. That's a great way to check. Yeah.
What would it be?
Yeah, that we.
So he's basically saying take bricks, more or less take bricks and put them end to end to end. And eventually, if these things are 90 degrees touching like that,
The curvature of the
curvature of the Earth should get further away.
Right.
If you had enough bricks. So it could take, 100 miles or so before you start to notice that.
Not even 100 miles, 3 miles.
3 miles.
6 feet in 3 miles.
But what about places like Kansas that are abnormally flat?
Yeah, they're flat. You can
Because
see
the Earth,
far.
while it is spherical by theory, the round Earth theory, it is not perfectly uniformly theory. It's not like a cue ball.
It's an oblate sphere.
No,
supposedly.
it's got hills and valleys and
Flat spots and round spots.
And it's wider at the equator than at the poles.
Yeah.
Due to the spinning of the Earth, they say.
Correct. That's what they say.
Gives you a slight
bulge. Yeah.
Right.
Oblate
Well,
spheroid.
But even
how-
then,
how
that's
come-
more or less the water, kind of like a tide type of thing.
that
Then
has something to do
Well,
with it.
how
yeah.
come there's like the Maldives, which are islands that are only like 3 feet in elevation?
right.
They have like a 1 foot tide, right? They're on the equator. The water should be bulging all over the place there, but it doesn't. The biggest tides are in the north.
Yeah,
okay?
Bay of Fundy.
And that makes a lot of sense. With all of the stuff that we've been doing, NASA is running scared. The elite are running scared, and they are responding to us. They're changing the story. You ever heard of moving the goalposts?
Sure.
Okay. They're moving the globe post. Okay.
Okay.
Right? And they're now saying that the moon is within our atmosphere.
who NASA,
NASA
saying
said that?
Yes.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did. Look it up.
I'll
Moon
look it up
within
right now.
Earth's atmosphere.
Googling it now?
Anything that has to do with space is made up. Just there's a little rule of thumb for you. Okay. Anything.
Can
that
I
has to
quote
do
you,
with
David?
Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
say. Yeah, that's a
that one-
really rough statement.
That's
to
a
say.
long. Yeah,
Well,
that's kind of a jump, but
That's a kind
But
of.
I
people
mean,
that
the guy
love
raises
space
some
love
good.
aliens, right?
No, your arguments are 100% compelling.
Yeah,
for
right.
Sure.
But let me admit, I thought you were going to be a total lunatic, but I think you're pretty. I think you're not a lunatic. I think you're a relatively sane guy, as far as this show goes.
Relatively.
We're
Here's the
not.
thing.
We're lunatics.
Misinformed.
People say, you want to feel special. You want to think that you know something that other people don't. Well, there's a lot of people that know the Earth is flat. By the way, the in the early 1900s, everybody knew the Earth was flat. They changed the story, started world wars, and redid everything. In the 1850s, there was the heliocentrism wasn't even a thing. Oh, that's what we didn't talk about is Aristophanes.
No, Aristotle, right? Aristophanes was a
Aristophanes
Greek
is
guy.
before
He's right.
Aristophanes.
Aristophanes wrote the Birds. He's a comedic playwright.
Had the stick in Said and another at a well or whatever. He
Right.
went from sticks and wells to sticks. But basically, at 12 noon, there was no shadow, but there was a shadow on this stick, and he calculated the angle
Right.
and did it. Well, on a flat Earth, right?
Isn't that Aristarchus?
No,
You have a
he's
close
right.
sloped sun, right? If the sun's right here above this stick, and I got this other stick over here, no shadow. Flat Earth, small sun. It works on both. By the way, nothing has fallen in the globe only basket since this beginning of this discussion.
Fair enough.
1900. We met a woman, one of my podcast hosts, Curious Jay, met a woman from Croatia who he tried to flat smack by, bringing up flat Earth. And she goes, of course the Earth is flat. I've always been taught that my entire life. I was taught that in grade school. People alive today that were taught flat Earth in grade school.
Right. So then that, like I said, shouldn't that be known everywhere? I mean, why are they teaching every single cut? I mean, why is this
It's so easy to change history. In 10 years, Building 7 will never have existed. Okay, they're changing history. They can. It's so easy. Like my grandfather, nobody knows who he was. It's gone. Like my dad passed away. Nobody knows who he was. That's not even 100 years ago. Okay. Anything over 100 years ago, nobody knows. It's so easy to
history?
change.
It's written by the winner, obviously.
Yep.
Definitely.
All right, let's have some listeners.
All right,
Let's go with those.
So Frank Reynolds asks, so I put out, on Twitter and Facebook yesterday, give us some questions for the guys, for the flat Earth guy. So Frank Reynolds says, I just want to know why on a flat Earth is it cold in the winter and hot in the summer? Why is that?
Well, because the sun is closer in the summer and farther in the winter. Period.
He explained that in his
It changes
right
altitude.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's
But-
another one. This is from Lucas.
Wait. Video called season.
Okay.
This next question comes from Lucas Van Gilder. He said, here's a flat Earth question for you, David. Helium balloons float, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So now I've heard some flat earthers say that this is evidence that there is no gravity, when in reality it is the opposite. Helium balloons float because helium is the lightest gas, thereby making sure that the other gases and elements are pulled more. This makes the helium balloon rise. If there was no gravity, how could this be?
Well, it's buoyancy and density.
Yeah,
That's
buoyancy.
it. The heavier things fall down deeper, and the lighter things float up higher.
Okay.
He did mention that before. He's being consistent. Yeah.
Ryan Sykes asks via Twitter, if the Earth was flat, and why haven't we heard of anyone falling over the edge before? And he said, I'll add to that and say, why are there no pictures? And so why are there no pictures?
So there are on both channels is a video called How to Jump Off a Flat Earth. And the Earth is, just imagine a lake in Kansas. Kansas is flat. Imagine a lake that's 20 miles in circumference, and you have a bunch of islands on that lake. You can circle those islands clockwise, counterclockwise, east and west. You can go away from the center, and when you get to the shoreline, fall off the lake. You can't fall off the lake. There's land surrounding the lake. Did you know that Antarctica is the highest land on Earth? It's higher than all of the other lands on Earth. You know why? Because the basin that holds the world oceans is the bowl. Antarctica is the outer rim of the bowl that's holding us. What's beyond that rim? More land.
So is Antarctica connected to the ground that's underneath the bowl? You know what I mean? Like if the
Antarctica, it's all the ground is connected. Like plate tectonics, how does that work? There's ground that's connected underneath the oceans, right? Where is it moving on a ball? But Antarctica is just the highest land. So get a bunch of clay, punch a hole in it, make some islands and stuff, and then pour water all over the edge, and it's all going to go to the basin. Those are the world oceans surrounded by the ice.
I mean, the model works, but
yeah,
could there theoretically, then you're saying that theoretically there could be no edge. It could just
there's
extend.
no edge that we have access to. What is maybe the firmament, the dome terminates to the land, and there's nothing beyond that. We don't know. There's reports, of people that explored the deep north and the deep south, that the farther they went, they couldn't tell the difference between the air and the water, and the air became one.
What?
Right? We don't know. Again, we don't know.
See, that seems like
what's there.
To me, David, that seems like something, if you had enough money to fund, you would fund a trip, a ship or whatever.
They're off limits. You're not allowed to go. Wait,
really? So if there's going to actually be someone to stop you, physically stop you if you keep going?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes,
Okay,
there have been people that tried to explore
Me too.
Antarctica, and they were stopped at gunpoint from military ships.
Who's military?
And told to turn around.
Yeah,
I
which
forget
military?
the names of them, but
You have that on
can look
video?
it up. And again, it's they don't need people linked elbows all the way around to stop people. They can see giant swaths. They can track. We're being tracked, and we can be seen
Through GPS.
Yeah. Oh no, not necessarily GPS. They radar.
Global position.
Yes. No,
Then how would
ground-
GPS work then? Because I was under the impression that the GPS, the satellite moves and they triangulate, and that's what tells you where you are. That wouldn't work with a.
Well, GPS doesn't tell you anything where you are. Your phone or your GPS device receives the signal from multiple satellites at once, and your device does the triangulation.
Okay,
The satellite-
okay.
There's nothing active about it from the satellites.
So it
That's
does.
a
Okay.
religious belief when you say that they come from satellites. The problem is when you're tracking airplanes all over the world. What was I going to say? When you're tracking airplanes all over the world, as soon as they get like 200 miles from any land, they disappear off of radar, off of GPS, and it goes into approximated mode. Okay, so and also when they're over like the Amazon jungle where there's no civilization, no place that has electricity, no towers, there's no GPS. GPS doesn't work when you're away from land. It's because it's all tower based. Now, are there satellites? There aren't satellites falling around the Earth in space like we're told, but they're launching thousands and thousands and thousands of satellites on balloons from Antarctica. Just look up balloon. And the people that lay those things, they don't know that the Earth is flat. But if they tried to go from Santiago to Australia, they'd run thousands of miles short on cable. They're like, wait a minute, we're not there yet.
Okay. Do you believe that all the other planets are flat too, and that the sun is also flat?
Let me answer that in 1 second. The guy's name is Jarl Andahoy, I probably butchered that, who tried to go to Antarctica, and he was fined and jailed. Do I believe
What was the
that
charge? Do you know? The charge for him?
What's that?
The charge for that man that was fined and jailed for going to Antarctica? What was he charged with?
I don't know. I don't look.
Who
it
was
up.
he charged
Breaking
by?
the Antarctic- by the UN. You know,
I believe that.
So the sun and moon and stars, the moons, they're all very similar. They're not physical bodies in space. They're just lights. So I don't believe in any rocks in space or burning balls of hydrogen. Everything is energetic that's up there. And until we get up there, we don't know. And Doug Jurley guy, he was fined by Norway for sailing without insurance and without filing a route plan.
Sure.
And was unauthorized landing in a protected area. Right? They got him on 3. Sorry, Antarctica is closed. You got to watch that, and then you'll stop asking questions about the Antarctic Treaty. You'll understand that it's off limits, and you can speculate as to why.
They stop you in a car if you don't have insurance. His question number 1 says, why are there still people who believe in a globe when the curvature has already been proven to be false? He's asking you that.
So what he's basically saying, long and short, is why do people still believe in round Earth if it is so obviously true?
Yeah, if it's been proven so many times, and everybody can prove it themselves.
Nobody likes. It's easier to lie to somebody than to convince them they've been lied to.
So it's more or less like a religion. We're so far built into it. Everything revolves around it. It's too much of a leap for society.
Cognitive dissonance is what it is.
Right, and we're
okay. Right on. So are we ready for our conclusions, guys? Are you convinced?
No, I'm not. Well, see, no, I'm not. I can't be convinced of flat Earth. Like he said, I'm admitting it. I'm too far deep into the religion of round Earth. I can't under one conversation.
You said I cannot be convinced of flat Earth.
At this point, I cannot. Not from one conversation. But what you have done is present a compelling argument with plenty of sources and plenty of videos and evidence that we could go look at to take a look at your point of view. Like you said before, and I said I haven't seen these videos. I can't rebut your direct, what you're saying. All I can say is my cursory knowledge of what I have been taught since forever, and rebut with that. But again, this is a very compelling, what you say, and all of it makes sense from, the questions you raise are very compelling questions.
Yeah, definitely. You did a great job.
Here's my challenge. The challenge is subscribe to the Flat Earth Podcast on SoundCloud or whatever podcast player you have. You can listen at double speed. You guys know about that.
Sure.
We sound twice as smart at that. And if you listen to 10 episodes, you'll be a flat earther. Or if you download
the 10-episode challenge.
If you download the Flat Earth app, you have the suggested video every day. There's a new suggested video, and you can go to the video archives. If you start watching those for 2 weeks, you will be down the Flat Earth rabbit hole.
For the people
that
listen to the podcast, I suggest you go to the YouTube video because the app really looks cool.
I suggest buying the app.
Yeah,
if you get a second, David, I don't know if you're on Facebook or not. You probably are. Try to find our group. It's facebook.com/surrealtalkgroup. Or groups/Real Talk Group.
Just send me a link in Skype. I'll do
Perfect. I'll do that. I was going to say, post as many links as you want there onto this stuff because
100%.
I don't want anybody, that's part of our thing is I don't want to hide any kind of evidence or maybe not evidence, but part of the argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Evidence is a strong word for a lot of stuff. But
what is the main reason, the one thing that makes you believe the Earth is a ball?
The one thing I would say is many different things, but
what's one thing that makes
day to night makes me think, the thought that the sun is the center of the solar system, we revolve around the sun is what's create day and night.
Right. And the photos I've seen of the rest of the solar system, which I am taking at NASA's at face value that NASA shows me.
Right.
All this evidence.
So we have a video called Day and Night Explained. It's from the YouTube channel Dan Dimensions, who sends up these balloons, and basically he's showing how the electric sun, the plasma field that we call the sun, is exciting the gas. The majority of the atmosphere up there excites blue, and it lights up the sky. Day and night are just excited plasma fields, and he shows nighttime right next to daytime in a video.
Like how, whenever you see two rivers collide each other and you have two different colors of water, he's basically showing
day and night
that way.
Each other.
Why? I just wonder why we would never see that as the sun sets. We always see a gradient.
By the way, when I've been out on the water on a boat, and I'm heading home, and it's daylight in front of me, and it's nighttime behind me. I've seen it.
You have been listening to WLC Radio. Join us again tomorrow for another truth-filled message on WBCQ at 9330 kHz on the 31 meter band. World's Last Chance Radio, preparing a people for the Saviour's soon return.